Hello and welcome to Meet the Producers, a Brunswick podcast powered by Brunswick Area Television. I'm Ben Staunton, and sitting next to me is a guy who graduated summa cum laude from clown school, Tom Kepler. How's it going, Tom?
I just said before the show that everything you've said to try and stump me has been true so far.
Yes.
And then you pointed out the Flintstones, I wasn't the Grand Poobah or whatever, so I guess that was a lie. But this one's a little out there. I did go to clown school.
I know you did.
But that was credit or no credit. So I got full credit, so whether that's,
Would you believe you were top of your class?
I'm the one still clowning, so yeah.
I would say that definitely makes you summa cum laude. That's what I'd say. So, sounds good to me. But enough about us, because the guy we have in here, I'm really excited to talk to on air. Why don't you tell us who we're talking to, Tom?
We have Mr. Buck Wilford. How are you today?
I'm doing pretty good. Happy to be here.
Now, should I call you Mr. or should I call you by military rank or?
You just call me Buck.
Buck. Okay. I like that. No problem. So you have had a show here on the channel for how long?
Oh, I think it's like going on 8 years, maybe a little more than 8 years.
8 years. And for those of you who haven't seen it, we're talking about Brunswick Community Church. Mm-hmm. He preaches up there and then he records it and puts it on the public channel. How long has the church been there? Has that been there 8 years as well?
No, it's been there a total of 12 years, but about 11 years since we first started meeting in the Brunswick Recreation Center. We were there for a couple years, and then we went ahead and got this space over here of our own, so it's a little bit nicer. It's just a storefront, but it's nice because it's our space right there.
Okay, he gestured to the south, but for those just listening, where is the church at?
It's at 1930 Pearl Road. If you know where Rito's Bakery is, that's my landlord, and we're right inside their plaza. If you're looking right at Rito's, you look left at the same building, and there's my church right there.
Cool. I know you offer donuts. Are they from Rito's?
No, not all the time, but we do have some sweets all the time. We always have something in there. Lately, we've been having some Panera Bread little cut-up rolls right there. So.
Okay, that's still a good answer.
Oh, yeah. We always try to do something.
Sweets are enticing. They are definitely enticing.
What was the motivation behind getting into the church? Because you lead the church, is that correct?
I'm the pastor of the church, and I got a fella that's in training. He's almost done with his Master's of Divinity seminary degree that's working on things, too, and he does my first hour. He does a show on there, too. His name's Jason. He's going through our London Baptist Confession right now. But I got into it because when I was a young fella, I always wanted to be a pastor. And then I ended up going into the military, staying 20 years. And then while I was in the military, I got my bachelor's degree done, my master's of divinity done myself from Liberty. And then I started the church from scratch myself in 2012. And it's just my passion. I hope and pray I'll do it till the day that I die, as long as the Lord gives me strength to.
Well, thank you for your service first. And from what I see, you're a positive, force to be reckoned with here in the community. So thank you for your continued service.
Oh, thank you much.
So why don't you tell us a little bit about your service, like where you started out, how you got involved in it, and maybe tell us one of the stories about something that might have happened to you while you were in the military.
Oh, but the most famous thing that happened to me in the military was, if you ever saw the movie Black Hawk Down, I was right there in the middle of that firefight. So I was only 19 years old, a PFC private, and that was my company, B Company, 3rd Ranger Battalion. And that was quite an experience for me. And the reason I got into the military was because I wanted to get money for Bible college, because I felt kind of burned out with school. And there were some recruiters in the Strongsville high schools where I graduated, Strongsville 92. There were some recruiters in that cafeteria, and they were like high-pressure salesman type of guys. And I've always been an easygoing guy that listen to somebody and hear them out. And I'm a lot better at saying no now than I was back then. But they told me, you got to come down here. You got to go to the MEP station. Don't worry. All they're going to do is tell you about opportunities you can have. You go to the MEP station, you're going there to sign up. There's a bunch of big, mean-looking guys, and they pressure you hard. I remember walking out of there so sad with my head hung down thinking, what have I done? What have I done? No. But it ended up being okay, because I did enjoy my time in the military. I got to see the world a lot. And I was Airborne Ranger, and then I was a Green Beret in Special Forces for my last 15 years in the Army there. So,
wow.
So I'd served a total of 20 there.
Heavy hitter. Why couldn't you get the job just sitting at the office here?
I don't know.
Intimidating people. I would sign up if I could do just that.
Yeah. It was an adventure. I got to do a lot of stuff there. Jumped out of planes, got to shoot a lot, got to go to 40 different countries is what I counted that I went to. Some of them just passing through the airport, but some of them staying for long periods of time. So I got to see lots of culture, lots of people, and it was really an adventure there.
Yeah, it's definitely amazing that, 20 years goes by kind of quick probably when you're in the military. But I heard something as a rumor, maybe you started it, that something kind of positive happened to you when you were in Germany. You want to tell us a little bit about that?
Well, I married my wife in Germany, which is a good positive thing.
See, I did hear that rumor right then.
Yeah, and I went to Germany in 2002, and I was in the Army. And I went there, and in 2003 is when I met my wife there. So it was real good. I was 10th Special Forces Group. We have 5 Special Forces groups in the U.S. Army, and each one handles an area of the world. And my area was Europe and Russia, North Africa area. And our forward battalion was in Germany. So I got a chance to get to go over there to live in Germany and experience European life and things. And that's where I met my wife. I got married to her over there, through all the German legal system and everything and the German culture, and then brought her back over here. But I did get to spend 2 different tours there. I was there from 2002 to 2005, got married in 2004, and then I got to go back from 2007 to 2010, which made my wife happy because most of all her family's still living there in Germany.
Sure.
So she's happy. If you ever come to our church, you'll hear another German-sounding lady is her sister. Her sister married a military guy too, and she comes to our church as well. He's the guy that's in seminary that's working through my stuff there.
So that's Jason.
Just Jason. Yep.
Yeah, okay.
He's my brother-in-law.
Very nice. Wow, everybody's tight-knit over there.
We are pretty tight-knit.
But I'm assuming that doesn't mean that you have to be part of the fold to come to church.
Oh, no. We have people from all over the place. I got some folks that even drive from Akron there to come see me. So I think, golly, that's a long ways to drive to church. But we just connect well, and people come out. So
very nice.
So it's really good. But that's the whole family there, pretty much. My brother-in-law's family and my family. My mom is there at the church, too. She's elderly. She's 86. Lord willing, hope she's able to keep coming and things like this. So it's special. But we have at least another 15 families besides our families there. So,
okay. That's awesome to have such a support group like that just within your family and within the church.
Yep.
Yeah, very nice.
You mentioned your mother and graduating from Strongsville. I learned from you that you've lived in the same house how long?
For my whole life. I'm 50 years old, about to turn the big 5-1 here pretty soon. And I was born in that house and raised in that house. I went to the Army from that house, shook my dad's hand when I went off for my 20 years. And when I was getting ready to get done, my mom wanted to give me the house because she was getting a little bit old and wanted a smaller place, and it was too much on her. It was just a little ranch. It's not like living in a mansion, but it was getting locked. She's getting older, and it was such a blessing because I raised my 2 kids and my wife in the house now, and it's so special to be in the same house I grew up in, all the good memories and stuff from my family. And just, it's been a Wilford house for a long time. I think 1962 was when my parents bought that house.
Wow. Talk about somebody who knows our community.
Yeah, been there a long time. And it's right close to Brunswick. It's on Benbow. It's only half a mile outside of Brunswick there. So I always felt like more of a part of Brunswick than I did my own city, actually. So that's why I chose Brunswick to set a church up in, because I like Brunswick folks there.
Well, Brunswick likes you too, I'd say.
Yeah.
Well, we're happy to have you.
Really
I've even heard you say that at a council meeting, I believe. Once
yeah. And there's some council meetings. I'm going to go to one on the 14th. There's a big one coming on October 14th. I'm really looking forward to going to that one here.
What's happening on the 14th?
There's a guy named Senator Romanchuk, and he helped out the city of Brunswick a whole lot by trying to stop that interchange and introducing that bill to take it out of law. And he's going to be visiting the city council on October 14th. And a bunch of the ladies are making flyers and trying to invite as many people as we can because we just think he did such a wonderful job, and we want to show our appreciation to him. And I always love going to the Brunswick Council meetings because the guys are so friendly there. They talk to you. I tell you, the city of Brunswick is full of a bunch of good people right here. I really enjoy it.
It's nice. Now, speaking of nice people, do you know how that you ended up on the channel? Do you remember how that all transpired?
There was a lady, we were doing free car washes, trying to connect to people and meet people, and a lady named Jenny met me, and she knew about the station, and she told me about it, and I thought, that's too good to be true. But indeed, it was true, and she linked me up with you guys, and I've been with her since. And Jenny comes to our church still too, and I told her just the other day, she was at a Bible study. I said, you know what? I get to get interviewed by Ben at the TV station, and I'm there because you told him about me right there. Told me about him, and I just said, this is so wonderful right here, and it's nice too. Because when I've met her little girl was really little. Now her girl's like a 9th or 10th grader at the high school.
Wow.
And it's so beautiful to see families grow and their kids grow and things, and just to be a part of people's lives. So it's good.
It's truly amazing how there's a lot of things that cross over each other. It's kind of like Brunswick's like a kind of a spider web in a way, where we run across this person, and whatever. And the day that I remember that my parents knew Jenny too, and they were also at one of your events. At you have like a regular
They said a potluck, right?
Potluck,
right?
yep, every month.
And so she invited my parents to come to your church, and they went and they met you. And then you guys were all talking about this. And then my dad's like, well, my son works there. And then he gave me your number, and I called you, and we made it all work. And then we've done editing with you guys. We went over how to do some editing, that you had a software that you were using at the time you weren't 100% familiar with. But everything's been working, and you guys have been giving us shows. And now you have the 2 shows on. So that's really good, because there's 2 different messages in those 2 different shows. So 8 times a week, people can get connected with Brunswick Community Church, as well as having 2 different services to listen to. That's really nice.
It is really good. And what's nice is I sometimes talk for a while, so you don't get to see all the worship music, but with that second show, the other guy doesn't talk as long as me. So I get to capture all the worship music and what goes on beforehand that I fill my hour with right there before he talks right there. So it connects really good.
Very nice.
Something for everyone.
Yep.
I always say one of my favorite parts of the studio here is shows can be as simple or as elaborate as people want. If they won't put the hours in and do everything fancy, or if they want to just simplify it and hit record. Did you think, let's go back 10 years since you have only been on for 8 years, did you think you would be creating a TV show every week?
No, never would have thought such a thing. I tell you, never would have thought it. And I tell you, like Ben said, I never would have known how if he hadn't taken the time in here to show me on my computer how to use that iMovie and how to do it. I feel like I work iMovie pretty good now, at least to my capability levels from what you guys see. So it's really good. It's my familiar path now.
And if you're going through the process of writing down your message or presenting it to the church, think of all those extra people that you're reaching now through the media.
It is good. I got a guy come to my church recently who works at the Brunswick Library, wonderful guy, and how he found our church was from the TV show right here.
Oh, really?
He said he'd watch it all the time, and he thought, I like what that guy's saying. I'd like to go see him in person. And since then, he's there every single Sunday. And
Nice.
he's my librarian at the church, as a matter of fact, because we started a library, and man, he got my whole library all organized. We know where every book is and what books we got right there. So it's so nice, and he came from that show. And then I've also, on the side, I'm a chaplain. I was a hospice chaplain for 4 years. For the last 3 years, I've worked at St. John as a chaplain. And when I was a hospice chaplain, a couple of the patients I'd get out here in Brunswick, like, we've seen you on TV.
Nice.
And then one time I'd show up, and they'd be like, hey, that's the guy that's on our TV. Made me feel pretty good.
Nice.
So this show is for November. I know you were talking about October, but the November show here. So you guys, with the holidays coming up, you guys got anything special happening through the holiday season through December, or what's going on with that?
We're going to do the potlucks, and our potlucks are catered to the holiday season right there. So in the we'll have a Thanksgiving potluck, and we'll have a Christmas potluck. And we make it around theme of Christmas food and about Thanksgiving food, and it's just a really nice time right there. And everybody brings a bunch of dishes right there. We don't have anything extra this year right now set up. Last year we did a clothing setup where we took a bunch of clothing. Anybody would donate clothing, and we brought it downtown. And we had a guy sharing the gospel, and then we had a little table. And on that table, we were just handing out clothes, mittens, gloves, hats to a bunch of homeless people and people that were really in need right there in downtown Terminal Tower, right in front of it right there. And I tell you, that stuff went fast. There's a lot of people really in need out there. It's surprising just how many people are just having a tough time right there. So that was real nice. I don't know if we're going to be able to do that again this year, but we might. We haven't got a date set down yet.
Well, and as always, if you do come up with something that you're doing or adding into your repertoire for this holiday season, you can always contact us, and we can put the information out through the signboard at the corner of 303 and 42, or we can also put it on the channel, and then we can also put it up on Facebook if we get it enough in advance, and we would love to share it with the community and get the word out. And you were talking earlier before we started recording about a little bit about the church. Do you want to tell the listeners about what's going on at the church and the things that you're doing over there that's innovative?
Oh, for sure. Yeah, my church is kind of different. I think all these churches in Brunswick are good churches. I know a lot of the other pastors, man. I think these guys are great guys, but everybody's got their own unique thing. It's like there's a church that just came over on Substation Road recently that's a branch off of Cuyahoga Valley Church. They're the same as me, my denomination, Southern Baptist. And I remember when their head pastor told me, we're thinking about putting a church by you, Buck. Is that all right? And I said, it's more than all right. I said, one thing in Brunswick, people come to church in Brunswick. They're good folks right there. There's a lot of churches. I think there's like at least 30 churches in this city. And I said, the thing that's special is every church has its own unique way. And it fits different people. Different people fit into different churches. So our church is a smaller church, like we run between 30 and 50 people on a Sunday morning, and everybody pretty much knows everybody. Everybody's really nice. I talk to people that come out to visit, and they tell me, man, like 6 different people came up and wanted to know what my name was, and like shook my hand and talked to me, and I felt cared for. And I think that's what's so special about having a smaller church. Something else about us, smaller church, is like after each service, we don't put it on the recording because it's private, so we turn the recording off, but we ask for prayer requests. They'll share a prayer request, something deep on their heart or something that's troubling them or something that just concerns them, and we talk about it for a minute, and we all pray about it right there. And then it only takes like maybe 10 minutes. It's not a long time, but it's a special way that we're really able to know what's going on in each other's lives. And I always tell the people when we pray about it, I said, remember what we're praying about. So throughout the week, when you think about these people, say a prayer for them. Just say a prayer right in your mind. You don't have to do something big and extensive, but it's a good way to stay connected and to care for each other. And something else being smaller, at least where I'm at, is I would call myself on the reform side. If church folks know what reform side means, I'm Calvinistic, and I hold to the 1689 London Baptist Confession. Some people know what that is, but it's kind of an older thing, but it's what all the Baptists used to be like in the 1800s, and that's who we hold to. And it's not that that's as solid as the Bible for us, but it's a good guideline. Like, hey, what do you believe? Where's it at? We really think that people ought to be able to know what they believe and why they believe it, and be able to try to figure that stuff out. That's the way that I preach and I teach, is I try to break things down. I think if I can't understand it, then how the heck can anybody else understand it? And I work things out like the way I've worked them out in my own mind. And I had a lot of time when I was in the Army as a Special Forces soldier to teach. We would go to third world countries, and that was our main mission, to teach these third world country folks the skills that they needed. And so I really enjoy teaching, and I like it. And that's the way that I do my church services too. So I go verse by verse, and that's called expository preaching. And you rarely find that these days in a lot of churches. Some people will say, that's just so boring, I don't want nothing to do with it. Because they're like, I don't want to just hear only what the Bible says. But other folks love it right there. But I really do make sure that I don't put people to sleep. I read it once when I was in seminary. If you're putting people to sleep, you are sinning. And I don't want to be sinning in my church. Okay? I want to keep them alive. I want to keep them awake. I want to grab their attention. I want to help them to understand. I want them to hear it and see it, and I want them to grow by it right there. So I put a lot of work in my sermons. I study an awful lot, and I dig deep, and I try to make sure everything that I say is theologically correct, and it's from biblical scholar type of level. And that's where I try to teach at. I even have my doctorate. I have my doctorate degree in ministry. And but the way I look at it, all these different degrees are just kind of like the basic training level. Where a minister really gets into it is when he digs deep into it himself, week after week, Bible study after Bible study, sermon after sermon, and that builds up like the way it does like the snow around here. Like another month, maybe, let's hope a little longer, we'll start seeing the white stuff come down, and it won't stick at first, but in time it'll start to stick and start to build up. And that's the way expository preaching and teaching is. And we do have a little baby room at the church where if you come with a little baby and you don't feel comfortable about your little one crying or getting upset in church, you can go back there and I have like a live video feed, right? The same camera that records the show feeds right into the TV, and there's a diaper changing table and things, and we don't mind. We don't mind if people have kids that are a little bit upset or they make some noise. You know, a kid's going to be a kid. And I think that's part of a family type of picture, is we're not trying to make a performance or make entertainment. We really want to connect with people. And the way I look at it, if a young kid doesn't go to church and get to be in the church, then why would the parent think they're going to go to church when they're older, when they're out of the house or something? And I tell the older folks or anybody that might have a little of an issue with kid making noise or something, because it's hard for a kid to sit still for 45 minutes, I tell them, don't worry about it. You know, let it be. Don't let that faze you. You know, thank God. Think about that young mom and that young dad, how hard it is on them. You know, make them feel loved here and be patient. And let the little one make what little noise they make or whatever they're talking to me, you know. Yeah. And that's why I love that smaller church and the way it can go. And another thing I do is I don't take a offering or collection right there. And a lot of people, especially people that don't go to churches, that's one of the reasons they don't go. They think all the church wants is your money, and I really don't care about the people's money right there. You know, I do believe that it's biblical to give to God and such, and I have some boxes in my church, like locked boxes, and it says offering on them, but you'll never hear me mention in the service. You watch my shows and stuff, you don't hear me say, you better give your money. There's the box right there. I never talk about it. I think that's between the person and God, and they be a cheerful giver, and they give as they like to give. And what I see is often, if someone's new to the faith, that's one of the last things they're ever going to get around to doing is giving. That's not the first thing they're going to do, and it's not the reason that we're there for. We have a passion for people, not for their money and stuff. So that's where I'm blessed. And I'm also blessed because since I did retire from the military, since I work as a chaplain, I'm not having to survive on my church, you know, like a lot of pastors do have to survive. And it is understandable and okay, you know, that they need to talk about it because they have to make the ends meet. But I'm really blessed with that. And I think it's a blessing at the church not to have to focus on money. And it's a blessing for a lot of people that's a turnoff for them maybe to come. Two biggest things people say they don't like about church is the people are hypocrites and all they want is your money. And the good joke about that is if someone says that to you about the hypocrites, you can say, well, if you find a church without any hypocrites and you go, you're going to be the first hypocrite there. Because we all are to a certain degree. We do the best that we can, though, and we don't blatantly try to be hypocrites. We try to do the best we can, but we're regular, ordinary people who just love God and love people. And the other complaint they have is all they want is my money, and we don't want their money. You know, if they want to give, it's a blessing right there. But it's not something I'm never calling somebody out on. I would care for somebody that gives nothing at all in my church, the same as I care for somebody that gives a whole lot of money at my church. It's not about the money at all. It's a passion that I got. You know, it's just it blesses me and it warms my heart to be able to have that church and be a preacher. And one other thing at our church that we have that's a little different is I'm a big book type of guy. Man, I'm a reader. I'm a thinker. I dig real deep. And I have a library with probably, I think, 2,000 books in my church. Wow. And they're all organized really well right now. And I have a sign-out list. People can sign them out. And I don't charge any money for my library. Come sign out, check out some book, and read it and enjoy it and bring it back when you can. So those are the kind of things that separate me maybe a little bit from the next church. And our worship is also not some big concert or thing like this. Some people may have a problem, but we just stick to the hymns and the hymn books because I look at it as people are coming to my church and giving me an hour of their time, and I need to make sure I put good theology into their mouths, into their minds, into their ears. And too often what I've personally found is some of the more contemporary music doesn't follow as good a biblical theology. So I like the old hymns. And some people like the old hymns and they love that. Some don't. And I let them know, listen, don't worry about the hymns. Think about what those words say and set aside all your cares, your struggles, your anxieties, and your troubles from the week and just try to focus on this and just let yourself be freed from all these troubles and things and put your mind on God and let the big picture come in that hopefully be a lot of light for you. And my wife plays the guitar and sings, and my sister-in-law, her sister, sings with her right there. And it's not a big production, but people enjoy it, and we have a nice time together. And that's pretty much what our church service looks like. And then we always spend a little time fellowshipping, saying hello to one another, eating some of those Panera Bread little things that we got out, and just spending some time hearing each other's story and being there for each other. So
Nice. Being a small church, let's say somebody's in crisis or they're looking for just somebody to talk to or something. How available are you? Because you mentioned that you're chaplain and all this stuff.
I do a lot of stuff, but I give my card out, got my phone on it. People can text me. I text them back. They email me back. They call me. If I can't answer it, I'll call them back. And I love being able to connect with people, talk to them, help them through some biblical questions and stuff. For money type of crisis, different things, we don't have that much because we're small. But what I do is I recommend them to go to Love Inc. That's a great organization right there. And then there's some other recommendations of places around here that I know that are there to help out for people. But the city of Brunswick does do quite a bit for people that are in need. There's no doubt about that. But I always will talk to them, and I'll try to guide them where I can. And any kind of biblical questions, man, I'll spend long periods of time, days, if it needs to be, going back and forth trying to help somebody understand something or see something or just share how I see something. And I always tell everybody, you got to be your own critical thinker. Don't ever believe something because I said it. Dig deep and find out research and find out, is that really truth? That's why I think the bottom line is truth matters. You want to find out what is the truth.
Okay. One more question about the church. Ben's going to get into the show times when they can watch it. When are your service times?
My service times are, my brother-in-law teaches at 9 a.m. on Sunday mornings. And right now he's in London Baptist Confession, but he's always teaching something from the Bible that's good. And he starts at 9, ends at about 9:45. And then we have about 15 minutes of just shooting the breeze, everybody getting along, everybody coming in. I have a little tinker bell that I tinker. It really is a little tinker bell, and it says, "Ring for Jesus" on it. And that's where we start our 10 a.m. time. And that's when I start to, I open up in prayer, we sing a few songs, and then I preach, and then I close with prayer. And that's from 10 to about 11:15, 11:10 it goes to. And once a month, we do a potluck, and the potluck's always the first Sunday of the month. And it's as soon as we get done with church, we go ahead and start eating. And we'd rather, if people come for potluck, to come to church too, because we want you to come to church too. Once in a while, somebody just come for potluck. We like you to come for church too. And we have the best potlucks, hands down. I've never been to a better potluck than we have, even though we got a small church. But we do that, and then during the week, I have a Bible study on Thursday nights, and I always advertise it as 6:30 to 8. But it's actually more like 6:30 to 8:35. Somehow it always ends at 8:35. But once again, we finish Bible study about 8, but then we spend time listening to each other's prayer requests, praying for one another. And what's beautiful about that Bible study, it's like a discipleship group. It's like where people can come, they can air their questions, they can say, what does this mean? What's that mean? Why is it like this? Why is it like that? And there's people coming together, and it's just a beautiful time for people to come close to each other, to learn together, to grow together. So those are my service times during the week.
If you're listening to this and you're like, hey, I'd like to check it out for myself before I go over there and check it out in person, you can always see it right here on the channel. We have 2 different services. The first one here that I'm going to give you the times for, this is the ones that Buck does. They are Fridays at 7 p.m., Sundays at midnight, Mondays at noon, and 5 p.m. Once again, that's the first service that we have through Brunswick Community Church. And those, once again, are done by Buck. Fridays at 7 p.m., Sundays at midnight, Mondays at noon, and 5 p.m. And then the second services that they currently have on the channel are done by Jason. Those are Fridays at 11 a.m., Saturdays at 5 a.m. and noon, and Thursdays at 11 p.m. And one more time, Fridays at 11 a.m., Saturdays at 5 a.m. and noon, and Thursdays at 11 p.m. And that's the second service through Brunswick Community Church. And you can always watch those, of course, at bat.vibit.com. You can stream the channel anywhere, anytime, right from bat.vibit.com. You can watch the government and the public channel. And if you miss a service and you didn't catch it at a regular time, you can always stream them there and watch them at your leisure. So you can have that opportunity to connect at home. You can pause it to do something else if you need and come right back and finish watching it. So those are all outlets where those are available. And don't you have outlets yourself that you have the services at?
I do. I have my website is www.brunswickcc, short for community church.org is my website. So www.brunswickcc.org. And I have a tab called Sermons on there. And I bet you I have 700 sermons or something on there. There's quite a few sermons. There's years and years of sermons on there.
And I heard you say before the show, no repeats, right?
That's right. Every sermon I do, I dig deep and research again. Even if I'm preaching the same passage, say at a Christmas time or somehow connects again, I never look back to see what I preached before. I dig deep. I do new research. I read new books, and it's always something different right there. I mean, it's precept on precept, line on line. So sometimes you'll hear me say some of the same things, but none of them are a repeat ever. You know, it's just maybe a few concepts that I try to use that are good teaching illustrations.
Okay. www.brunswickcc.org. You have anything else there, or just the sermons? Or?
Oh, they got About Me. You know, it has the 1689. If you want to see what the 1689 is that I talked about, I need to get somebody to help me better with the website, but there's a little tiny place to click on the front of it right there that says 1689, and it opens up to a big website, and it has like all the different topics, and you click on whichever one you want to click on, and it'll take you down to the paragraph, to the scriptures, and just help you to understand it and see it. And that's a really nice thing to look at there. And then it's got some pictures of me and my wife and kids, a little bit outdated. I look, 12 years younger. Some of those photos. And it's my email's on there too, which is buck@brunswickcc.org. And anybody can email me anytime too. And like I said, I am a big Bible guy. I love truth. I love people looking for truth. Love talking about the Bible. And, I'm a chaplain during the week. That's all I do all day is come alongside people, care for them, listen to them and stuff like that. And if they're a believer, as a chaplain, then I share the word of God with them too, and I share some type of way. But, with chaplaincy, sometimes not everybody's a believer, but everybody's made in the image of God. So I love people, and I listen to them, and I come alongside them, do whatever I can.
We covered a lot here. Is there anything we missed?
No, I think that's it. But I'm just blessed to be here today. I'm thankful for you guys. I'm thankful for this station. I'm thankful for this city. This is a good place.
So am I. I agree. We're thankful for you.
Thanks so much.
We are very thankful for you. And we're thankful that you're on the channel. And I also want to send out to everybody who's listening, if you'd like to do your own television show or your own podcast, well, you can do it just as easily as Buck did. Just get in contact with us, 330-220-1726. You can go to the city's website at www.brunswick.oh.us. Hey, you can stop in over here at Manhattan Avenue. We'd love to see you here as well. And let us know what you'd like to work on, and we'll help you make your television dreams come true.
I'm not one to tell anybody what to believe or how to go about it, but here's a man who's done his hard work, his research, and you think he doesn't care? Well, you're thinking wrong. I went to clown school, but that's no joke.
I would agree.
All right, well, for Buck Wilford and Ben Staunton, I'm Tom Kepler. This has been Meet the Producers. Thanks for listening.
And like they say in French-speaking Canada, à bientôt, which means I'll see you soon.
Bad Government programs are produced by Corinne Kirk, Tom Kepler, and Ben Staunton. You can find this and other programs, as well as a live stream on our on-demand website, bat.vibit.com. Feel free to reach out, offer a suggestion, or get involved. Thanks for tuning in.